good evening. If it's evening where you are, it may be some other time. I don't know. You can see outside the window. It's obviously the middle of the day. It isn't really. My name is
nor is the sun setting back here.
My name is Willie Lawson. My friend's name is Paul Swanson. We are from fightbackmedia.com, 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 and my friend in the Swanson Report at .locals.com, the Swanson Report .locals.com, swansreport.locals.com. And what we have to do today, this evening, is we've had a whole day to sort of digest, and we ingested, digested, and for some of it we expelled some of the State of the Union address from last night. And we've got commentary. You know, it's interesting. People ask, well, what'd you think? Did you have any opinion? And I always go, yes, I always have an opinion. Sometimes I just keep it to myself because, you know, some of y'all aren't ready for it. But Paul and I, he was nice enough to come on. We're going to talk about some of the things that we saw, some of the things that were said. Were they on point, or were they completely ridiculous? Or was this just a wish list of, you know, the leftist wish list of stuff sort of put together as a State of the Union? Now, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong. The State of the Union address is supposed to be where the President of the United States goes to a joint session of Congress, and after getting reports from all the different departments, and says, the Department of War has 4 planes and 15 aircraft carriers, all in good repair. The Department of the Interior has 15 acres of land and 7 bears, all in good repair. Isn't that what it was supposed to be?
Yes.
Initially?
It is a report. It is to be a report of the State of the Union.
Yes.
Now,
but it did morph. When did it start morphing? Because it's not that now at all.
Oh no, I would guess, best guess, probably in the 60s sometime. I would say Kennedy, most likely.
Because now what it seems to be is a commercial for the midterms.
It's a pure political, you know, extravaganza at this point.
It most certainly is. So I'm going to start from the beginning, and then how I want to do this. I want to say I want to comment on something that I heard that I thought was noteworthy. I'll say it that way. And then Paul, as we go down through the speech, something that you found was noteworthy. One of the first things I found was noteworthy that because we're not at war, but with the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia, one of the sanctions, one of the things that Joe Biden, the United States, and their partners are going to do, they're going to reserve 60 million barrels of oil, because that's going to somehow hurt the Russian war effort. Well, immediately I thought, Paul, well, how much is 60 million barrels? Now, 60 million barrels is too much to put in my backyard, too much to store in this office. It's a lot of barrels.
But I don't have any room here either.
But the United States uses that much oil in 3 days.
Correct.
1.8 million barrels of oil are consumed in the United States per day. So this is a little less than 3 days of oil for the United States. So Paul, my friend, Paul and I have known each other for, my God, since 2008, 2009. And I've always found you to be on point. I've always found you to be level-headed, well-researched. Can you tell me how in the hell is 60 million barrels going to be even noticed by Vladimir Putin and the Russian Empire? How is this going to hurt them?
It won't, and it's the same the same example can be said about what was it? Oh, it was Transportation Secretary Eric. No, not Buttigieg, not him.
Not Pete
Swalwell.
Buttigieg?
No,
Oh,
no,
Eric?
Swalwell.
Oh my God.
Swalwell said, "Hey, you know what? The best thing for us to do is to kick out all the Russian students who are here in the United States." Okay.
That'll show them.
Yeah, boy, that's gonna strike fear in their hearts. And then I posted something on our newsletter, which you made reference to, I think, the other day,
I did.
or maybe earlier today, or something of that nature. Anyway,
Middle of the night sometime.
yeah. Hey, I don't remember why I walked into the kitchen half the time. So the same thing, because I did put a picture up and you've probably seen it. That guy, the bartender sitting outside of his bar pouring out bottles of vodka. That, oh boy,
that'll
that's
show
again, that'll show them, boy, that's again strikes fear into their hearts.
By the way, Smirnoff is made in Texas now, not in Russia.
Yeah. Fortunately, we've got a distillery just up the road about 3 miles from us here that makes it all from local stuff, so we don't have to worry about it.
Very good.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of kabuki theater. It's a lot of posturing, a lot of whatever you want to call it, faux examples of, my gosh, we're going to show them Ruskies a thing or two. You know, no. And even the sanctions, I don't believe, because the administration, if you saw any of Biden's press conferences and or Psaki trying to go ahead and correct her boss, they never expected any of the sanctions to work anyway.
No.
And they knew that this was pending, because they'd been crying wolf. You know, it was a little boy who cried wolf for about a week and a half or 2 weeks. They knew this was going to happen. And yet they didn't do anything until, all of a sudden, supposedly, if you can believe the news reports from the institutional media who's out there, you know, that the Ukraine has been invaded. Now, I'll just tease something because I'm not quite ready for it yet.
Okay,
but
cool.
We are. It's gonna be short, but there's some background that the general public per se does not know about the Ukraine, and it involves the CIA and some other stuff that's been going on. And it goes back to what the coup back in 2014. But there's you know, there's much more to
the season of scandal.
Yeah, there's much more to the story that people do not know. So yeah, there's nothing that the current administration is doing is having or going to have any impact whatsoever on what's going on.
No, and I don't believe they can, and I don't believe that they have the intestinal fortitude to do anything of any consequence. And unfortunately, you know, I did see a commentary last night. We were swooping around YouTube, and I think it was one of the Fox commentators said basically that if the people of Ukraine were looking for, you know, any hope in what the president had to say, there wasn't any at all. But I don't think there was going to be. I really don't believe there was going to be. I think that I think for this administration, this happening was a tremendous PR thing for them, because it got everybody's mind off Joe Biden and the administration's horrific failures in the economy, in COVID, and all the things that they said they were going to be able to do. They have been incredible failures, outrageous failures.
Yeah.
And it's moved all that off the front pages.
Exactly. There's a great, and again, it's stuff of wanting to post, but there's a great YouTube video by our friends Penn and Teller about misdirection. And this is exactly what it is. Hey, squirrel, look over there. Yeah.
Look over here.
Yeah.
While I'm picking your pocket over here.
That's right. Exactly. There's great, there is not, they didn't have any substantive content for what was to have been the State of the Union, because there is no State of the Union.
I mean, because the State of the Union is horrific. It wasn't like the last president who said, listen, look at the unemployment numbers for our African-American citizens. The unemployment is down to historic lows. That's something that we accomplished. It is hard not to have that be it was hard for that not to be an applause moment. Look at how well we are protecting our southern border. We've had fewer crossings, blah, 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 blah. There was accomplishments. There was a checklist of stuff that we said we would do, and we're checking it off. Exactly. They obviously didn't have anything close to that last night. So something that was said that you thought was particularly fantastic, amazing, that made you jump to your feet,
or do this weird Chuck Schumer? Like Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, yeah. Or this weird sort of Nancy Pelosi thing where she was like,
oh yeah. I saw that too.
What the hell was
she was
good here.
That was a sidestep from her in the teeth thing.
Yes. Oh, that thing with the teeth.
Yeah,
like,
that was.
We're thinking, they make some adhesives for that you can get.
Or they you don't go buy your dentures at the dollar store.
We'll get them online. You got to go in for the fitting. You got to go in for the fitting. Can't get them online.
Got to do that. The one thing, one of the things I noticed, because I did not, I was hoping that, I did not want to have to watch and endure the dumpster fire that was gonna happen. And you and I had talked about it off.
What I heard, I listened to on the radio on the way home.
Well, I didn't even do that because it was just, you knew there wasn't going to be anything of great import. The most newsworthy thing that could have occurred was he went up and said, "Hey, the State of the Union sucks. Thank you all. Good night."
Good night. Things suck. Good night. It would have been the best address ever, though.
Yeah,
it'd been fantastic.
What I did notice, and maybe you did too, in looking at the various alternative video sites, YouTube at all, there's no. I think I saw one replay of the State of the Union, because before, for 4 years prior, there were a plethora of videos and people commenting and all of this thing about the president's State of the Union address. Not one single thing could I find today as I was looking. So obviously there's no content. There's no substance.
They wanted to be as forgettable as it was.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, exactly.
They wanted to be as forgettable as it actually was. And please, and please don't comment on anything. Don't ask any questions, because we don't have the answer for it. We know that it was disjointed. It was just a laundry list of left-wing wants and wasn't even delivered all that. That wasn't delivered all that well. There were things that were actually that need to be fact-checked for sure. One of them was this idea that this administration, first of all, the idea that federal administrations create jobs is foolish, no matter who says it, really. You know that and I know that. But as far as jobs, they are touting that they have created something like 6 million jobs, or I don't know how they create 6 million jobs, but yeah, 6 million jobs. But the fact of the matter is that we aren't back from job creation as a country to where we were pre-COVID. So right now, if you use that matrix or that metric that the federal government can create jobs, if that's true, if we just go with that bit of ridiculousness, they haven't created one. We're not back to where we were pre-COVID. But
well,
Biden,
no, and
Biden just says it, and people go.
Well, and not only it's not job creation, it's people, and not everybody who had a job prior pre-COVID. It's the people who are coming back and taking up their jobs that they had previously.
Bingo. Ding, ding,
You know,
ding, ding, ding.
It's not, and I can, you know businesses down there, I know businesses up here. You can't find people to hire.
I've seen more now hiring signs in the past 3 months than I've ever seen before in my life. They are everywhere. The Circle K convenience store that I pass every night has a big QR code out there on the road, hoping that people will hit it with their phones on their way by. Trucks for trucking companies, for everything that you can imagine. Big rolling billboards down the street with big QR codes, hoping that somebody will hit it with their phone and apply for a job. It's incredible. But the benefit, as a side note, Paul, the benefit, if I were a younger person, if I wasn't 61 years old, if I was out there looking for a job now, it would be a perfect thing, because I think you can probably get a job that's just above your skill level, and of course enjoy the money from that you might not have been able to do in a more competitive environment. So you can
exactly.
I think this is the time that if young people are watching, you can sort of skip steps, because they need you to fill a seat, and I'm sure they'll train you to do whatever you need to do. So you can sort of skip steps right now. So it's a beautiful time to hop in. At some point, because of the condition of the economy, it might not be. And that's the other thing. It might not be at some point. At some point, the condition of the economy may be such that, I don't know, those jobs that are out there now may not be available. But right now, skip steps, go ahead and hop into it.
Hey, you can go to McDonald's or any fast food place and be earning anywhere 13, 15 or more an hour.
Walk in off the street, give 15, 16 bucks an hour. Walk in from the street.
Yep.
Doesn't seem hard. Does not seem hard. Because every McDonald's that I've had, every fast food place that I have either stopped at, and I know that you live in the land of clean and pure food up there. We live in the land of greasy, fat-filled, diabetes causing, A1C rising foods that are delicious here. Every fast food joint that I have passed by or been to in the past 3 months, they are all hiring. A lot of them are hiring on the spot. So you walk in and sit down and say they'll
do an interview right then, and
I'll be here tomorrow. Okay, then congratulations.
Exactly. And you know what? Probably because of inflation, those wages are probably going to increase.
And they are. I never imagined a time where I didn't. And it's funny because you don't hear from the fight for 15 people anymore, do you?
The who?
My point. They are gone. Because first of all, a lot of those jobs were never minimum wage jobs. That was always a lie. And the second part is that 15, hell, everybody's paying 15 bucks. What are you talking about? Everybody's paying 15 bucks to flip a hamburger or drop some fries. Everybody's paying that. They have to now because the economy is in such, in such a place people aren't working.
Well,
what are they doing though? What are they doing?
back to your point, though, that fast food is hiring so much and paying so much ahead of, on the top end, that are, John and Mary Q. Public going to actually be able to afford to go get fast food because the prices are rising?
And they are. It's expensive. It used to be.
I can't speak to that because, well, literally the closest fast food place is 25 miles from us, which is fine. I don't really miss it, but it's not like we're in there and I've been keeping track of, oh, well, today the burger is, $1.89, and I walk in a week later and it's $2.19 or something, so I don't know where that is going.
I think the average meal, a burgers and fry meal at some place like McDonald's, actually, and you may be shocked by this with your 189 example, has been, the burger, the fries, and and the drink have been around $8 or $9 for a while, which is crazy. And now, let's see, yesterday I stopped by Campbell's Dairy Aisle. Hi, Campbell's Dairy Aisle. You guys are great. It's a place that's been in that community since I was in high school, since before I was in high school. So Campbell's Dairy Aisle has been around for more than 50 years. And my first day there was yesterday, and it won't be my last day. Thank you, guys. And a grilled chicken sandwich, a medium sweet potato fries, and a large drink was like $13.
Whoa.
But I'm gonna tell you, those sweet potato fries. Oh my God. Yeah, about $13. And a place like Five Guys that has always been a little bit more expensive is something similar. So yeah, and you're right. At some point, when it used to be, cheap eats, it's not. It just isn't anymore.
No,
it's just not cheap eats. So the people that used to fund that are not going to be able to.
No, it's not going to be convenient nor price effective.
Not at all.
And if there starts to be a downturn in people actually stopping, let's stop at Mickey D's on the way home, that's not going to happen. And guess what? You're not going to have that $15 an hour job, or your hours are going to be cut.
Because we can always replace you with the kiosk to take the orders.
That's right.
We already have. It's already happened.
Just look on YouTube and look at what's going on in Japan and Singapore, Florida. all of the vending machines and everything.
Yeah, I think I saw the first pizza vending machine on YouTube where it makes hot bubbly pizza.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that if that dough for the crust isn't terrible, it's probably not terrible. And no humans were involved in the making of this pizza. It happened in the machine. It got spit out the bottom. It got paid for there. And if you got paid for with a credit or a debit card, that transaction happened electronically. The whole thing happened. The only person who's involved in that process is the person who stocks the machine.
Yep.
That's it. So you don't need a place. You don't need a building. You don't need medical insurance or unemployment insurance or the insurance liability. You don't need any of that.
Nope, not in getting the end product to the customer. Not at all.
You sure don't. So I think that's the next wave of, oh my God, what's going on? All right. I mentioned before we hit the record button that the president mentioned one of the ways, again, we're going to strike against the Soviet Union is to cut down our consumption of fossil fuels. And so we won't need their oil that we continue to buy. Although just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were energy self-sufficient. And suddenly we're not. Suddenly we're begging OPEC to produce more oil. Please, please, OPEC, you know that we know that you think that we're the great Satan. I know, but could you please, could we buy some more oil from you guys, sir, please? Early on this year that Joe Biden bought almost 2 million barrels of oil or something, some large number from the Soviet Union. I'm going to call them the Soviet Union. Sorry. They're acting like the Soviet Union, so I'm going to call you like this. I'm going to call you the Soviet Union. When we have not only reserves here, we have enough oil under the ground to become net exporters of energy, as we were just 2 short years ago.
Exactly.
So this change has been on purpose. It hasn't been that we just blow through all this oil in 2 years because we were just buying big used SUVs and heating our houses in the summertime and keeping the AC on 24/7. Except if you live in Florida, you kind of do. Well, you do. I mean, it was in the 80s today, dude. It's in the 80s today. It was in the 80s yesterday. So the AC is on. It just is. But so what happened? Well, what happened apparently, Paul, and check me if you think I'm wrong, is that a little bit of the Green New Deal people and the squad are having an effect that we're not hearing about on policy. And this policy is a damaging policy to the economy, to our safety, and it is kicked our status as a world power squarely in the bollocks.
Yeah, I mean, we live far enough north here that, you know, hey, Keystone Pipeline, turn that sucker back on. Let's continue back. Yeah, that was one of the very first things that the Biden administration did, was to cut that, and you know, and also cut back on, you know, what the Alaska drilling and, you know, drilling permits and such, fracking permits. Excuse me. So yeah, I think that was, as you said, probably to appease some of the Green New Deal folks. Not, you know, hey, actions have consequences, Joe. You know, you were handed an energy independent country and you screwed it up, buddy.
You gave it away. And so my deal is that you must have given it away on purpose, because what you had to do to keep it was nothing.
Right. Just let the status quo, let it keep going.
Things seem to be working okay. People are happy. People are happy with fuel prices. There seems to be enough. There isn't any reason to do anything. So if you made any changes and it got worse, you did it on purpose. I don't, because
$1.69, $1.79 a gallon for gas. Back, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was $3.54 last week.
It was $3.49. We filled up the Equinox. It was $3.49 Sunday. Yeah. And for what reason? Now, we used to yell and scream and bitch and cry because a lot of that, you know, per gallon was taxed. And that's still true. A good portion of that is taxed. However, what we're seeing because of our lack of independence is not because of tax. Now, I'd like to get the tax on gasoline down to, I don't know, as little as possible, just like everybody else. But I don't think that's our biggest bugaboo right now. Our biggest bugaboo right now is that we are depending on people who hate us, still hate us, to
exactly
to provide our lifeblood. I was listening to Dennis Prager a couple of days ago, which I am prone to do from time to time. And he said one of the toughest things about growing up is that you find out that a lot of people who are in responsible positions that you had respect for are fools. And when Europe decided to become interdependent on energy with the Soviet Union, that was a foolish move. It was just foolish. And
but yeah, not only oil, but gas as well. So
when you have the ex-chancellor of Germany on the board of the state-run, listen to me, folks, the state-run gas company and oil company in the Soviet Union, the ex-chancellor of Germany is on the board of these companies.
Suppose he and Hunter get along all right?
Probably, because, what the hell? Real recognizes real, game recognizes game.
Yep.
So you know anything about gas? No, but I love this money. I love the cash. So he's living pretty well. So when you have that sort of activity going on, the only thing that makes any sense, Paul, is that the United States become energy self-sufficient and not have to deal with any of that. You would have think that we learned our lesson with OPEC in 1976. You would have think we learned that lesson. But apparently, either we haven't, or there's some reason why we're not behaving like that anymore.
And it's probably a little bit of both. That though, the old adage that those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And then there are those who go, no, there's a as I was telling somebody asked about well, our old adage of follow the money. Why is this going on? Well, follow the money. There's a reason for this.
There always is. I believe that there's always is. And I think that power and money are usually the main two reasons. And a distant third is a complete incompetence. But I don't think that is as prevalent as we like to say it is. We always think these people are stupid. I always go, Barack Obama was not stupid. He was a lot more clever than any of us realized at the time. He wasn't stupid. He was evil, but not stupid. One of the lines I heard when Joe Biden was, again, this is become a laundry list of pass this legislation, send me the bill, I'll sign it, as opposed to the condition of the union, was that there's a bill that needed to be passed because Intel, the semiconductor maker, was ready to spend $100 billion. $1 billion? No, $100 million. I'm sorry. To build a plant somewhere in Ohio. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah.
The semiconductor plant. And my question is, and see if you know, I thought it was $100 billion because I said it right after he said it. If Intel is ready to spend $100 billion, why do they need any money from me? What are they waiting for? Buy the property, break ground, build the factory, sell your semiconductors, employ a bunch of people, make a bunch of money. Why aren't they doing that? What could be in one of these build back better bills?
that is no longer. now we're into mental health of Americans, but you can read about that in the newsletter. Yeah, that's the same.
We're too sad to know that things are better.
The same reason that happened up here in Wisconsin with Foxconn down in Milwaukee area.
Yes, I'll mention that because I remember that. What happened?
Well, that they built and they came in and the conditions were they had to get tax breaks and ad infinitum as far as concessions in order to build it. And to be quite honest with you, at this point, some 3, almost 4 years later, I don't believe they're producing anything, because they were supposed to be producing TVs. They were going to be doing iPhones, or at least components for iPhones, and a number of other things. And I don't think they're doing squat.
Are the factories finished?
I don't know. Good thing to follow up on, but I don't believe so, because if it was, and the economy down in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County and that area down there was just, going great guns, we'd be hearing about it from our wonderful governor here, but we're not.
Interesting. And it just seems to be the whole thing, it's, and it's so funny, Paul. At the same time, in the same speech, the president mentioned there are, and I remember this distinctly, there are 55 Fortune 500 companies that didn't pay anything in federal tax. And they need to pay their fair share.
And no, they don't. And this is what not only the administration, but everybody else continues to neglect to say anything is, why don't you fix the damn tax code? They're just following.
Thank you and good night.
Hey guys, you're the ones who've got this tax code that's 1,000, 1,500, whatever pages thick. Why don't you look in there and fix a few things instead of continuing to beat the dead horse that these people need to pay their fair share? They're just following the tax code that, Uncle Joe, who's been there for 47 years, has got his fingerprints all over it. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy and everybody else.
And what people won't tell you is that the K Street exists for one reason: to better the position of their clients according to the tax code. That's why they're there. If you change the tax code to something simple like, and I just posted a fair tax video on my Facebook page, or I don't care if it's fair tax, I don't care if it's the other one, fair tax, and what's the other one?
Consumption or
that's the consumption tax, the flat tax or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That cuts out, that closes K Street, shuts them down.
Yeah. And hey, you know what? Like I said, what did I just say 5 minutes ago? Follow the money. Hey, that's not going to happen.
No. Every time, and think about it. The two candidates for president in recent history that talked about making big changes in the tax code, they weren't supported by Democrats or Republicans, really. Mike Huckabee, who I supported because he's a hellacious bass player, by the way. Just a hellacious. He's got a Warburton bass, and Pastor can play it. He's a really good bass player. And then Herman Cain. Both of them, fair tax and flat tax guys, we're talking about upsetting the apple cart of the tax code. Nobody jumped on board. You would think that people, you would think that conservatives who continue to say that this progressive tax is really not progressive, it's actually regressive, and it hurts Americans, that they would be the first one to jump on board with, we got to scrap that and come up with something that's better for Americans, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know how it is down there in your county, but there, or at least in Florida. Well, you guys don't have a state income tax, do you?
Hell no. And you would see Florida man in his worst possible light if someone starts to mention that nonsense.
Well, and we didn't have, I'm trying to think, remember when we lived in Texas, we didn't have any sales tax, I don't believe. I don't remember right offhand, but anyway. But here they're, midterms, they're talking about trying to get rid of the property tax here in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Now,
how's that going to play out?
Well, property tax funds a whole lot of things up here.
Here too. Here too.
So yeah. Is that going to fly? Yeah, it probably resonates with a lot of folks because they look at that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, bill that comes due, and they go, yeah, that's too much.
Well, yeah. I'm fortunate because I live in an old house in an old neighborhood. My property, and so my property taxes are never very much, but it's easy to find homes, not far from where I live, where they'll pay $9,000 or $10,000 a year in property taxes, and they're homesteaded and pay that much.
Yeah. Now we rent here, but I do know that the property tax on this particular house, which is a 1920s, 1930s built, is close to 2,000, maybe 2,500 a year.
Wow.
I couldn't get I couldn't get a loan on this, even as a VA, to get a loan on this place.
Wow.
Building inspect, the home inspector will not pass it.
So that house is sort of frozen in time.
Yeah.
It's become a $2,000 a year cash cow forever. And I have problems. I have a fundamental problem with property taxes to start with, because that's government telling you that you will never really own your property, no matter if you pay the mortgage, pay the note or not. You never own it. They actually always have a claim. Yep. Forever.
Same thing when we lived in Virginia about cars. You had to pay sales tax every year on your car.
You had to pay sales tax on a car that you already own?
Yeah.
That you already bought?
Yep.
Why aren't there people in the streets with pitchforks and torches?
And torches. I
don't understand. I don't understand. That's crazy.
Yep.
It's like, do I need to pay the sales tax on my refrigerator again?
Well, what is it in the UK? You have to pay. You have to pay you have to pay a TV license every year
to have a TV.
Yep, to get broadcast TV, BBC. That's how the BBC funds their stuff.
They should be in the streets with pitchforks and torches too. That's the reason, and I'll tell my UK friends, that's the reason we separated from y'all in the first place, because that is dumb. That is dumb. We're gonna finish up. COVID.
It's gone. Hey, the Russians cured it.
The Russians cured it.
Well, hey, first I thought it was the Canadians, because the Canadians had found a cure for it. But after that all went pear-shaped, then Russia has found a cure for the pandemic, and nobody cares about it anymore.
No one cares. And even in the speech, I knew that there'd be a point of time where they would take credit for nature. They took credit for nature. And as soon as we found out that Omicron basically acts as a vaccine, and that article is, I think, from Epic Times. I believe it's on the Facebook page, the Morning Report Facebook page. If not, it will be there in a little bit. That when that happened, and of course when the House physician stands in front of the House and goes, "You may take off your masks now. We have won." And I said this, and you saw that I said this, a number of weeks ago, that they would be putting up the mission accomplished banner on COVID very, very soon.
Well, you knew that, and if people didn't realize that the State of the Union was going to be limited in attendance, social distanced, masks, the whole 9 yards, and somebody had a sudden epiphany and decided that, oops, that's not going to look real good on TV.
That's the truth.
So, hey, yeah, pandemic's over, folks. However, did you read the story, the one little sentence in the story that said, Nancy said, hey, nope, no masks at all, you can come, everything, but you had to show that you had a pandemic, a test. Not that you had you were positive or negative, but just that you had a test. Yeah.
That's just more,
oh my
goodness. More wanton stupidity. Yeah, so I had a test. When did the test have to be? I had a test a year ago. That's enough. Go on. That's good enough. Good enough.
Yep. Have you had a test? Yep, I've had a test. Okay.
I had a test in high school. Yeah, I failed. Come on in. Come on in. Just the
it's like, and I keep sounding like a broken record, and you've probably seen it in the newsletter and such that we and in our videos that we do occasionally.
Yeah, we do. You do sometimes.
That it's never been, hey, pay attention. It's never been about public health.
No.
And if you believe that it's about your public health and they're concerned about your public health,
I've got a bridge over the Everglades to sell you.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to sit down and take a moment and let's think about this, because it's not. No,
it never has been. Not even in the beginning. It never has been. It's always been about control and money. And yep. And it will continue to be. This idea now of long COVID, the lingering effects of COVID.
Oh, well, long COVID came out, oh God, what, a year ago or more?
Yeah, and I saw a commercial after. I think that we were watching something right before the Republican response, and we're not covering the Republican response because that was every bit as non-noteworthy as the State of the Union address.
Well, how do you comment about a non-substantive speech?
I think that all she should have done was like go down the bullet points and just start laughing hysterically. It's like, can you believe this? Wait. The president said that the tax cuts that we got last time, that was the worst thing for you, to actually have more money. It's better that they spend yeah. And I mean, just laugh the whole time. Just laugh like an insane person the entire time. That would have been delicious. That would have been absolutely positively delicious. But they try to be serious. They try to treat it seriously. When there isn't anything serious about it. It's a clown show, no doubt. Yep. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here and make room for somebody else. Listen, tonight, the Speakeasy on fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. And I'm not sure who the artist is going to be tonight. I don't know. Last night it was the band Yes from my childhood. I love Yes. The night before it was Steely Dan. So I'm not sure who's going to be tonight. We feature a little music. We talk about some stuff in the speakeasy kind of way. Your grandma can still listen because we don't cuss. And tomorrow, the morning report. We're getting close to 500 episodes. You believe that?
Yikes.
We're getting close to 500 episodes. We're at 489 today. So we're right there. And I figured out we're going to have a giveaway on the 500th episode. If you have go to fightbackmedia.com, go up to more, pull down the contact information and join the mailing list 3 days before the program. So you got to do that right now. And because I can see when you pop in and when you join, you'll be eligible for the giveaway. The chat room from speaker will be open. The email will be open. And there may even be a Skype call-in number, but I hate Skype so much. I do. It's my least favorite internet thing. kind of list all my internet things. MySpace is above Skype. That's how much I hate it. So there may be a Skype number to call in to join the program. I don't know, because you got to pay for those now. So we'll see if that happens. But you can still participate by email. You can still participate by being in the chat room.
There you go. That's the way to do it. And
the person who I think has the best input will get the giveaway. I know what it is. I'm not going to tell you yet. We'll tell you as we get closer. In any case,
we'll drop hints.
Maybe. You like roller coasters? Anyway, Paul, tell them how they can get a hold of you, get a hold of the newsletter, maybe buy you a cup of coffee on Locals. Let them know.
TheSwansonReport.locals.com, TheSwansonReport.locals.com, TheSwansonReport.locals.com.
Very good. I'm so proud.
All that's probably the best spot. And the newsletter is on Substack, and we've posted it at the various and usual suspect places on Facebook. Look for it there. On the Swanson Report, on the Morning Report. Hey, we're also on Rumble. We're also on BitChute, where these will and contact things and stuff will be there. I keep hitting it up, but oops, where is it? There it is. Okay, I keep hitting it up that we really need a coffee sponsor. So if you have a coffee that you'd love to have us push, we're here for you. It is, I know it's 10:55 there, it's 9:55 here, and I'm still drinking coffee, folks. So
I've got to do the speakeasy, so I'm going to do the speakeasy on LaCroix and coffee. That's just how it is. Maybe some Perrier, maybe, because I am that bougie. Yes, I am that dude. But a little LaCroix and some coffee. Coffee sponsor would be so cool. That would be outrageous. Outrageous. Maybe I'll get a hold of my friend. Maybe I'll try to get a hold of the folks over at Buddy Brew. And I'll send you a pound of Buddy Brew coffee. Would you like the Egyptian decaf? The Egyptian decaf is so good.
No decaf. No decaf. That's drink that that's like the what's the Monty Python? What's anyway about anyway, if the Monty Python thing about canoes and water, you'll understand. And beer. Decaf coffee. No, it doesn't work.
I'm telling you this. The Egyptian. I have an Egypt. Because I told you, I am that dude. I don't care. The Egyptian decaf pour over. Delicious, sweet. Got some chocolate notes in there.
No, too many years in the Navy. Got to have that. Got to have that coffee.
Well, as long as you're not drinking instant coffee with the free dry stuff with the water, as long as you're not doing that.
No, oh no.
Because that stuff's awful. All right, so we got to get a coffee sponsor, and I like Buddy Brew. Buddy Brew supplied coffee at the Republican National Convention when it was here in Tampa. So got some Buddy Brew for free, and they were fantastic, and they're really good folks. So maybe we'll contact them, and maybe get a coffee sponsor and have it emblazoned on our little coffee cups.
There you go.
That sounds like a plan. All right, we got to get out of here, maybe for somebody else. So listen, until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.